Just a few months back, the USA, once the loudest critic of Russia, now defends Moscow at the United Nations. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it just happened. The same United States that rallied its allies against Russia suddenly voted against a UN resolution condemning Moscow. The same United States that once called Putin a murderous dictator is now refusing to use the word dictator for Putin. This is a massive geopolitical shift, and it has America's allies nervous. So what's happening? Why this sudden change, and what does it mean for the future of global alliances? Let's break it all down. Just days ago, at the UN General Assembly, European nations put forth two major resolutions. One called for an immediate end to the Russia-Ukraine war. The other explicitly condemned Russia's invasion. Now here's where things get shocking. 93 nations voted in favor. Only 18 voted against it. And among those 18 was the United States, along with North Korea. Yes, the same United States that spent years sanctioning Russia, funding Ukraine, and rallying NATO against Moscow, just sided with Russia. Even China, India, and key allies of Russia abstained, but the United States took an active stance against this resolution to support Russia. Why? What changed? The answer is simple. Donald Trump. Since winning the United States election, Trump has radically shifted America's foreign policy. He called Ukrainian President Zelensky a dictator. He refused to label Putin as one. He even blocked the G7 from using the term Russian aggression. This isn't just rhetoric, it's a complete reversal of United States policy. And let's not forget, just a few months ago, the same Trump was saying, "I will end the Ukraine war in 24 hours." Now, it looks like his strategy is becoming clearer. By shifting America's stance, Trump is weakening Ukraine's diplomatic position, sending a message to Europe that they can no longer rely on the United States, and most importantly, keeping the door open for potential deals with Russia. But that's only half the story, because the world is watching and reacting. America's allies are stunned. Germany's new Chancellor Friedrich Merz just made a shocking statement. We need independence from the United States. Yes, Germany, the strongest economy in Europe, is now questioning its reliance on Washington. Even French President Emmanuel Macron has started hinting that Europe needs to build its own military force without United States support. Meanwhile, Ukraine is in absolute shock. The country that spent the last 3 years fighting for US aid and support is now watching Washington back away. This isn't just a shift in policy. This is a complete realignment of global power. And here's the kicker. Russia is loving it. Let's get one thing straight. Putin couldn't have asked for a better outcome. The US pulls back support from Ukraine. Europe starts questioning its dependence on America. NATO is now filled with uncertainty. And while all of this is happening, Russia is already reaching out to Washington. Putin has floated the idea of a new US-Russia trade deal, offering to supply aluminum and other raw materials. Yes, the same United States that imposed sanctions on Russia is now hearing offers for economic cooperation. This is a historic shift, and it begs the question, is this the start of a United States-Russia reset? Here's the truth. This is a lesson for the entire world. For decades, nations have assumed that the United States would always stand with its allies. Washington's foreign policy was consistent no matter who was in power. But this moment proves otherwise. The United States doesn't have permanent friends or enemies, only interests. And those interests can change overnight. America's allies now face a harsh reality. Can they still trust Washington? Should they start building their own independent security policies? And what happens if Trump pulls the United States out of NATO? The world is entering a new era, and everything we assumed about global stability is now up for debate. So, what do you think? Was the United States right to shift its stance on Russia? Is Trump making a smart strategic move? Or is this a dangerous gamble? Should America's allies start preparing for a world without Washington's backing? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your take on this. And don't forget to subscribe to Geopolitics Unfiltered for the latest no-nonsense takes on global politics. Because the world is changing fast, and you need to keep up.